Continuing with the idea, awareness of the challenge. So in the last video, we spoke about the challenge of breaking out of your comfort zone and when life's out of balance. In this video, I'm going to share with you a 4-letter word that relates to being a massive challenge in business, and that is fear. F-E-A-R. Now, why are business professionals likely to have fear? So I created this list. Volatility of income. That creates a lot of fear. Then there's fear of rejection, right? Somebody might, reject me and make me feel bad. Fear of failure. Why even bother? I don't want to have that pain. I'm afraid of the pain of failure. Fear of calling because rejection, because of failure, because of discomfort. Fear of asking for the business. Fear of missing my quota. Fear of pushing past a no or not now. Fear of having to say no to yourself. Fear of losing yourself. Fear of being humiliated. Fear of appearing pushy in sales. Fear of not knowing what to say next. And I urge you to continue this list, because in order to overcome fear, you need to know what you are afraid of. While it's true that the bottom line of all fear is the same, I want you to have the experience of recognizing that. So I want you to write down what you're afraid of. Ultimately, what are you afraid of? You're afraid of being rejected. You're afraid of being hurt. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of bothering somebody else. Whatever you're afraid of, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to ask yourself the question, what will happen if I get rejected? And you're going to wind up finding what the next level is. See, the awareness I want you to come is that ultimately you're afraid of yourself. If that person rejects you, you're going to tell yourself you're an idiot. If that person rejects you, you're going to tell yourself you messed up. You should have done it differently. If that person rejects you, you're going to tell yourself you're worthless. It all boils down to the fact, ultimately, our biggest fear is the fear of ourselves. When that person rejects you, it takes 2 minutes and it's done. It's you who you're afraid of that will beat you up for the next decade for your mess up. So when we're afraid, what we think is we're afraid of somebody else. And then stress and anxiety is the fear of needing to control somebody else, which we can't. So we get overwhelmed emotionally. If you recognize that what you're really afraid is actually totally in your control. You're afraid of the way you're going to respond to that person. You're afraid how you're going to deal with after that event. How many times you're going to replay it. What you're going to tell yourself after that happens. The bottom line of all fear is fear of ourselves for 2 reasons. Number 1, are we going to feel good enough? Number 2, are we going to feel loved? Are we lovable? You determine those things. And therefore, ultimately, all fear has to do with you. Because if you put down the phone and you just say, I'm great, I'm amazing, he was in a bad mood, it won't have an effect on you. What has an effect of you is your interpretation of what that means. And you understanding that you're worthless, or you're useless, or you're not good enough. So all fear boils down to whether I'm good enough, whether I'm lovable, and I'm the one that determines that. But I will make myself feel not lovable. I will tell myself I'm not good enough if the other person rejects me. So I want you to write down what you're afraid of, and I want you to take it down to the core. So I'm afraid of I might get rejected, and therefore I'm going to feel bad. And what's if I feel bad? I'm not going to be happy. And what's if I'm not going to be happy? I'm going to be angry at myself. It'll always come down to you. Which basically, when you become aware that, again, like I talked about, it's not a logical exercise, it's an emotional exercise. We don't change logically. We know we need to lose weight. We know we need to get a better body. We know we need to make more sales calls. That doesn't change us. We need to feel it. So I want you to have this emotional experience. Follow through your fears to the end, and you will see you are afraid of you screaming boo at yourself. You're afraid of you hurting yourself. You're afraid of you being nasty to yourself. And you could change that today. When you recognize that, you're empowered to then go further with the process and change the way you talk to yourself. and change the way you process things that go on outside of you. And that way, you can live the life that you desire and we both know you truly deserve to live.